Hello everyone. Quite recently I was lucky enough to be given not just one chainsaw, but two chainsaws. The guy that gave them to me told me that they had both stopped working and he had no idea what the problem was, so he just gave them to me to see if I could get them working again. So I'm going to start off with a yellow chainsaw, which is a Gardeo, and the first thing I'm going to do is just put a little bit of fresh petrol in there and just a little bit of oil for the chain. Surprisingly enough, that's in very good condition. I don't see any petrol coming in there though. After leaving the chainsaw overnight, I came in this morning and lifted it up, and underneath you can see all the oil is dribbled out. So that's another thing I have to fix. So the first thing I'm going to do is take off the chain, just with these. Now I'm going to take off this carry bar. I can only see two screws there, and underneath is another two. So now if I just move that spring to the side, I can probably quite safely take this off. To get this cover off, I see two screws inside and one on that side. So I found another screw down there, and I've also got to just lift this choke out of the way. Now it should just come right out. And just look at this, little tube is just broken in half. There were just 4 screws holding that on. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove this pipe here. I'm now going to undo these 2 screws which hold the carburetor to the manifold. Now they're loosened. Let me get those out. There's one more little screw to undo here. So now it looks like the carburetor will come out quite easily. Now if I have a look at the primer bulb, on the back of it there are 2 little plastic tabs. I'm just going to push the one in, try and ease it out. And now I can just take the broken pipe off. So now I'm just going to take the carburetor apart, just to give it a good clean. Actually looks pretty clean from the outside. I don't know what's going on the inside though. You will notice this part has a gasket as well as the diaphragm. When you put it back, make sure you put the gasket back first and then the diaphragm on top of it, and then the silver plate. Now I'm going to take the plate off the other side. And when you replace this side, you put the diaphragm down first, then the gasket, and then the plate. So the first thing I'm going to do is have a look at the little filter here. As you can see, there's quite a bit of dirt in there. So you just get a needle and hook it out. And the next thing I'm going to do is take out the little needle valve there. There is a spring underneath the metering lever. So you've got to put your finger or thumb over the whole thing before you undo the screw. Slowly, so the spring doesn't jump all over the place. And what I normally do is just get a can of carburetor cleaner and spray through every single hole that I can find, just to clean everything out. Now to put the needle valve back in again, you can see I have a spring there already, and this is a very tricky situation. And release gasket first and then the diaphragm on top of that. And now we can go to the other side, and as you can see the diaphragm is going to go on first and then the gasket will follow. And now I'm going to find out why there's such a bad oil leak. I'm going to be taking this clutch off. The first thing I have to do is take the spark plug out and put in a piece of rope. I don't have the right tool for that. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers. Hopefully that will work. Is to come off. So far I've taken off 6 screws. One. Take this cover off. Take that bottom spring off. And now that I've taken the handle off, you can clearly see that there is the oil reservoir, and this is the little pipe that's supposed to stick in there with a little grommet on the end. I don't think it's damaged, I think it's just fallen out. That's where the oil's been leaking out. So now this handle part is looking pretty good after I cleaned it. Taking the oil pump off seems quite straightforward. There's a little screw over there, which underneath there's a little wire. I think it's an earth wire. It gets connected to the on-off switch. Another screw over here. There's a wire that goes in. That is the wire that oils the chain. No, sorry, not wire, a tube. Not that easy actually. There we go. Now I'm just going to pull this tube off here because it won't come out through that little hole. So I'm just going to pull the tube off. As I said, this is the guy that gives the problem. He's supposed to go in there, and it doesn't really stay in. It just comes out very quickly, very easily. So I've got to try and either repair that or get a new one somewhere. If you have a look at this grommet, you can actually see there's a little lip on the end. But if you look at the hole where it's supposed to fit, it's absolutely smooth. There should be a little lip in there together so the two can mesh together. So now I've got this tape which I use for plumbing repairs, and I'm just going to wind it around there, say like about 3 times. And now I'm going to push it into the hole and make sure it's a good tight fit. I need to put something over the top of this to stop it coming out again, and I found this piece of plastic. Now I've got my hot air gun, and I'm just going to soften the plastic. Get another piece of wood and just bend it down. So now I've drilled 2 holes in there. I've also drilled 2 corresponding holes in the bottom here. And now I've put 2 self-tapping screws in there to keep it in place. So now it's a matter of connecting the pipe back onto the oil pump. So putting the 2 screws to secure the oil pump again. Putting the clutch back is pretty straightforward. First of all goes the washer, and afterwards, there we go. Then the clutch, and that winds anti-clockwise to tighten. So now we're ready to put the carburetor back on again, and this is the order in which it goes. First of all the plastic manifold, then the carburetor, and then the air filter mounting. The fuel lines and the little red electrical wires haven't been pinched anywhere. The linkages have been attached and all are working. And last night I filled up with oil, and I'm very happy to notice this morning when I lift it up, no oil at all leaked out.